Hey guys, Paul Pro Scale Models, welcome to the build series. Today we're going to be building Revell's 125th Shelby Cobra 427. So yes, this is going to be a tribute build to our friend Tracy, who we lost last year. We did a buddy build last year in his honour of Vipers, Dodge Vipers, and this year we picked Shelby Cobras. So loads of these being built by different people. They all look different. It's great to see loads of people taking part. So as I say at the end of this video, when they're all done, I will do a slideshow of them all to show everyone's work in progress. So kit looks good. It's a simple kit, but it's a simple car in real life. I picked a special colour for this one, which you're going to see in the video in a minute. It's a special paint, but it's going to be available forever over on ProScale, so you can buy it at any point. And it is a beautiful, beautiful colour. So there we go. Don't forget, I have a Patreon on this, so you can join, get early access to all the videos up to like 3 months. There's loads of perks for becoming a patron, not only to support me making these videos, but there's a supporter group chat, private messenger group, private group on Facebook. You get 10% off a ProScale paint with the applicable tier. Like I say, you get up to 3 months early access on the videos, and you get a bench update every week that's just for supporters. Every Sunday, I do a bench update, and I go for everyone's work that you've shared over on the supporter group as well. So that's down below. And of course, make sure to sub to the channel. Leave a comment as well. Love reading all your comments. And yeah, let's get into the build. Okay, straight in with the build, and we'll start off with the chrome. This can be a bit of a point of contention. Sometimes the bleach you use won't strip the chrome straight away, and sometimes like this, it strip the chrome off or even start the camera rolling. So literally that's been in there for about 30 seconds and the chrome is completely gone. So just normal household bleach, drop your chrome bits in, dechromed in seconds. So with that done, we're onto the body. Now, this is an older kit, but it's actually not too bad of a body. It's actually pretty clean. So as you see, I've got my optimizer on, just having a good close look at what I need to do. Looking at decals, thinking ahead of what I plan to do. Now, straightforward seams over the majority of the kit. The worst ones are between that headlight and that front open grille. It tucks right back in, so make sure you get your sanders right in there and get rid of them, because it is quite a significant seam. And the front of the headlights, one of mine on one side needed to flatten off because it was a little bit, it was sticking out a little bit, so just needed flattening off. But other than that, the body's actually pretty good. Overall, the kit's not too bad. It's a simple kit, but the real car's simple as well. And it goes together with relative ease. So just some careful cleaning up of a UMP sanding sponge. Taking your time going around. I would recommend wearing some kind of optical devices so you can see closer, especially if you're getting older, like myself. We've got the bonnet there as well. Really nice bonnet. Fits pretty well. But I did find that cutting off the bonnet hinge did help later on down the line. So I tend to remove bonnet hinges full stop on cars now and just take them on and off as required, because they quite often can foul where they close. So with the bodywear pretty much cleaned up, I'm going to rescribe it. I've got my Holly rescriber. I'm just going to lightly rescribe the whole body, so we've got nice even panel lines, both in depth, and if they're not quite as pronounced as they should be, we can sort that out at this stage. Just take your time here. Very easy to slip and ruin your body, and you sat there sanding back. So take your time here. Practice is the only way you'll get good at this. And for me, the Holly scribers are the best I've used. But sadly, no longer made. You can still get them if you hunt around, mainly from the Far East, but they are pretty difficult to get and not the cheapest either, but they are by far the easiest scribers to use. With everything cleaned up and rescribed, we're going to scuff the whole body. So I think this is a Tamiya 1500 grit sander, and I'm going to go around and key all the body, and that way we get a nice even surface for primer because it's all evenly keyed. Putting thousands of microabrasions in there will help our primer and paint adhere later on. Once I go over the whole body, get an old toothbrush, get all the nooks and crannies, panel lines, gaps everywhere, and get rid of any sanding dust and marks. And we have given it a pre-paint degrease, ProScale pre-paint degreaser. I've just not got it on camera. In the spray booth, mounted to the Tamiya spray stand as well. I've got some ProScale white primer. We've got my Iwata CR 0.3 to CR3 Iwata Revolution, about 20 psi, and we're going to put 2 or 3 light coats of primer down, building up slowly as we go, letting 5 minutes in between each coat to flash off, and obviously doing the bonnet at the same time. Now, as you've noticed in my videos lately, I'm speeding up the process on the painting. You don't need to sit there and watch me paint for half an hour. So doing this cuts down the video length, cuts down all the codswallop in the videos. And there we go. So with 3 coats of white primer on the body, we're then going to flat it back ever so slightly with a 3000 grit Tamiya sponge. And all we're doing here is taking off any high spots, any dust that's landed, and again, keying the surface and giving us a nice, smooth, even surface ready for our paint. So don't go mad. You're not trying to burn through. If you do burn through, you're going to have to put another coat of primer on. So just very, very light. I'm using this dry as well. I prefer to use these dry. This is a well-worn one, so it's got no real cutting power to it at all. Now, specialism paint for this one. This is to honour our good friend Tracy, who we lost last year. So this is Tracy Ferguson Good Moron Purple. There's a private joke in there. If you know, you know. If you don't, well, you don't. I'll explain it later on. But basically, this is a colour I found in our catalogue of paints and dedicated it to Tracy. And it's a beautiful, beautiful purple colour. So, same Iwata CR3 Revolution. 0.3 needle, 20 psi. I'm just going to put down probably about 8 light coats of this paint. It's a pearlescent purple. Nice light coat is the way to go. Just focus on getting your coverage rather than getting coats down and trying to hose the paint on. This paint doesn't go on wet. ProScale paint goes on nice and dry. You'll get your gloss coat from your gloss later on. So we're just focusing on all those nooks and crannies, recesses, wheel arches, in and around the front grille, so on and so forth. Just giving a nice even coat everywhere. Once we've done a coat, we'll let it flash off for 5 minutes, then come back for another coat. And like I say, probably about 8 coats on this in total. This is probably about halfway through. As you can see, the colours building up, absolutely beautiful. On colours like this, I would recommend a white primer. You could go over silver as well. Silver would give it a little bit of depth to the colour. But for me, white was more than adequate. And this colour is absolutely stunning. It really is. It's a good tribute to our old friend Tracy. It certainly is. And here we go. After about 8 coats, look at that colour. Absolutely beautiful. So this isn't a limited edition paint. This is a paint that will be available forever on our site. Obviously, it's in honour of our friend Tracy. So it's going to stay on the site for the foreseeable future. So it was several coats of paint, looking absolutely stunning. And now we've got the arduous task of masking. Now, this is me getting it right. There's about half an hour here of me faffing around trying to figure out what kind of stripes I want to do before I finally figured it out. I literally took me forever finding where I was at with this to figure out where to edit. So what I'm doing is find the central line with some, I think it's 2mm Tamiya tape. I'm measuring it there, although my big head's in the way. I've got a ruler making sure I'm central. And then once we're central, we're going to put another thin piece of tape next to this. And we're going to use this to get an equal gap in the stripe all the way along. Now, because there's no screen, it's a nice, easy body to mask this one, because you can literally do it almost in one go. So really nice and easy. So what I'm doing is we've got a central stripe, then we'll put a stripe in next to it that will be our gap for our colour. And then we're putting down more tape next to it. And then the final piece of tape will give us that equal gap along the way, and we'll remove the central piece of tape for our stripe. I hope that makes sense. It'll become apparent what I'm doing at the end. But basically I'm using the equal widths of the masking tape to give me the proper gap. Again, apologies for a focus shot. But there we go. And what I'm doing is once I've got the gap, and then we're using the tape on the other side. So you'll kind of figure out what I'm doing. So there you go. That's what I've done. So we put the central piece in, and we put two bills next to it to get a 4mm gap. Our masking edge at the back, and then remove the center pieces, and that gives us an equal gap. So it's the easiest and most accurate way to get an equal gap in your stripe along the way. So as you can see, looking good. And now what we're going to do, we're going to snip it and burnish over the edges to get our nice clean masked edge. So like I say, by far the easiest way of doing it is to use the tape width to your advantage as a measurement guide. And like I say, just cut through. Leave a little bit of an overhang. And then you can burnish those pieces down with your finger. Like so. And there we go. We have perfectly masked stripes. Now, if you've got any recesses or areas that stick up, make sure you burnish it down. I've gone over the boot lock on the back, so I need to ensure that we burnish it down properly. And obviously, we carried the tape over the front, so exactly the same over the front. Just lay it over, cut it in the middle, fold it round, and nice and simple. One of the easier masking jobs are done because of the shape of the car. And then some final masking with some wider tape, so we can spray. Now, for stripe colour, had to have a good think of this. We've done the bonnet the same way. Quite tricky to do over the scoop, but we got there in the end. So, stripe colour. I'm going with Pro Scale Light Gunmetal. I'm going to do the wheels in the same colour, and that's the plan. So, nice light coat of Pro Scale Light Gunmetal. This is my Iwata HPC Plus this time. It's a bit more of a detail spray and airbrush because we need to get coverage, but we don't want masses of paint going on because we don't want bleed through. We don't want a massive step. So nice light coat is very important here. As you can see, we're masked up the body using some masking tape and cling film, so ram wrap depending on where you're from in the world. And with several light coats of the light gunmetal, our stripe is now painted. And of course, not forgetting the bonnet as well. Every time we do a coat of paint on the body, we do a coat of paint on the bonnet as well. Like I say, a bit tricky to spray the masking of the bonnet, which is why I did the masking so it was perfectly on the edge of that bonnet scoop to make my life a bit easier. Parts cleanup, probably my most hated part of modelling. Not a massive par heavy kit, but there are some tricky pieces to fill. These exhausts are, for want of a better word, crap. Glued together, there's a massive gap on end, so you are going to have to fill it. So just get it glued first with some semi extra thin and clamp it and let it dry. Engine on this kit is fantastic. It's a really nice engine. Well worth getting the kit just for the engine alone. If you're looking for a nice, I think it's a 427 block to go in a kit. Yeah, the engine is a very nice part of this kit. So gluing those halves together with the transmission, tabby extra thin, does a great job. It does need clamping though. I see a lot of people making mistakes with this where they put the glue on first and then do the parts together. And that's not how it works. Put the parts together, let the capillary reaction of the hot glue work. And then clean up of the rest of the kit. It's not too bad a kit. The worst part of clean up on this kit is the chassis. And I used a knife in the end to clean all that up. It is probably the worst part of the kit. So with all our paintwork done, we're going to 2K. We've got ProScale's 2K system. So we've got our clear coat, our activator, and our thinner. Now, the clear coat and activator are a 2-to-1 mix. So it's 2 parts clear to 1 part activator. So we're going to put in, say, 10 milliliters of clear. You don't need to use that much. I'm just using it as an example. So 10 milliliters of clear in there. So 2-to-1 parts of that would be 2 parts clear, 1 part activator. So 10 mil clear, 5 mil of activator. Hopefully that makes sense. So we pour in the clear straight into the medicine cup. These are medical grade cups, so I know that the measurement's correct. And then we're going to get 5 mil of activator out of here, 2.5 mils with the pipette. Now, the pipettes are brand new. They're only used once for each chemical. Don't stick them in each bottle because you'll contaminate the bottle of 2K and you'll ruin it. Keep each pipette separate from each chemical. And like I say, one use only. So there's 5 mil of activated 10 mil clear. Empty the pipette, put the lid back on everything, and then we're going to mix up that pipette and throw the pipette away. Simple as that. So we mix it all together. Now, if your 2K ever goes cloudy, regardless of what brand 2K it is, your activator has gone off. The activator is a isocyanate-based activator, so it has a shelf life. It's usually around 3 months. If you keep it cool and out of direct sunlight, it'll last longer. But if it ever goes cloudy, yeah, you need a new activator. Most places where you buy your 2K from, especially as a Pro Scale, we sell it separate. So you can always buy the activator separately if you want. Now we're going to add in there 5 mil of thinner. So with 50 milliliters of combined clear and activator, we're putting in there 0.75 milliliters of thinner. Again, using a brand new pipette. We're going to mix that together, throw the pipette away, and then we're going to strain it. I would always recommend straining 2K, regardless of the brand. The activator, because of the nature of it, does dry around the lid, and you can get crusty bits landing in your 2K. So I would always advise straining 2K, regardless of what brand it is, whatever, just to make sure it is crystal clean. So strained into a brand new medicine cup, and then into our airbrush. So we're going to be using our Iwata CR Revolution. That's a 0.5mm Revolution, 20 psi. And we're going to put down a nice wet coat to begin with. Let that flash off for 5 minutes, and then come back for another wet coat. Simple as that. So anti-static brush. We've got our body taped securely to our stand. If you notice, I have two paint stands. I have one covered in paint that I use for priming and painting, and this fairly clean one I use solely for 2K. And with a wipe over the brush and a blow over some air, we are ready to 2K. So nice even wet coat all over. Follow the wet edge, keep the wet edge, and just make sure you're systematic and thorough on where the 2K goes. Now, don't try and hose it on and get a perfect coat this time. We're building up the layers here to do a final wet coat at the end. Now, safety precautions. I've got my bench bend booth on. I'm in the room on my own. I am fully gloved with arm length gloves on both arms. I'm double gloved on that left hand so that I can whip off a glove and not have a sticky hand when I clean the airbrush later. And I'm gloved on the right hand. They are nitrile gloves, which is the most impervious to 2K. I also have my full face 3M respirator on with the suitable filters in there. And as long as you follow these precautions in 2K, using it occasionally, you'll be just fine. If you're using it every day, then you need air fed, yada, yada, yada. But as an occasional use, doing it this way, I've been using it for years without issue. You'll be just fine. Nothing beats 2K out the airbrush at all. It just gives a phenomenal clear coat out the airbrush. When you finish spraying, you see my box to the left. It will go in there after each coat, and when it's done, and it'll be left to dry in there for about 5 hours. After 5 hours, it's touch dry. You can pick it up and whatnot, and it's fully cured in 48 hours roughly. I tend to leave 5 to 7 days before I polish, so it's fully hardened. But as you can see, with our first wet coat going down, we're getting a nice gloss, and you will see your colour come to life with this. The depth of the clear does help immensely. So once that's done, we'll pop that in our box. As you can see, the box is vented. I have little mesh vents on the side so it can off gas. And we're going to do our bonnet. But one thing I would recommend is, wherever you're using, make sure it's securely mounted. This is mounted on an old bottle with a 3M pad and a bit of cardboard at the bottom to keep it stable. We do have new stands over on ProScale. We're going to have a look. They are 3D printed bespoke ones, and they are fantastic. But yeah, once our first coat's done, in the box for 5 minutes, we're back out, and we're going to do exactly the same again. We're just going to put another wet coat down. I've sped this footage up this time. So again, don't try and get that perfect clear coat this time around. We're not going to do it. We've got a little trick to do at the end. We're going to thin our final clear coat layer, and that will make a huge difference in the self-leveling properties of the 2K. But as you can see, the colour is coming alive. The only real problem we got here now is dust is your enemy. That is what will cause more heartache than anything, because yeah, you've then got to polish it all. So yeah, if you can keep it as dust free as possible, if you're going to hoover the room, do it the day before. Try and disturb the room as little as possible. I always set my booth up and everything the day before, so I'm ready to go. And it keeps down the disruption of dust. Now, whatever we've got left of our clear, so say you've got 10 milliliters of combined clear and activator, we're going to thin that 10%. So we're going to put another milliliter of clear in there if you've got 10 ml left. Fresh prepared, stir it up. Now this will drastically thin the 2K, so it's really noticeable. It will spray out the airbrush easier, it will atomize easier, and it will also self-level a lot easier too. So we've laid our foundations with the two first wet coats. They've been tacking off with every 5 minutes was left between coats. And now this coat here now, with it being a bit more highly thinned, this will level out absolutely beautiful. And we want this to look like glass. If your 2K doesn't look like glass by the time you finish spraying it, you're not putting enough down. I can't stress that enough. Don't be afraid to push it until you've got a perfect good clear coat. If you can see orange peel, or as our friend Gary called it, onion peel, you've not put enough 2K down. It is as simple as that. So with a nice wet coat down, I'm going to pop it back in the box where we do the bonnet. That'll self-level for the 30 seconds it's in there. And then we'll take it out using our light above us, use it to angle and have a good look around. And if it's fine, leave it be. If you can see a little bit of orange peel, just put a little bit more 2K down. Don't be afraid to push it. And there we go. That's it done. Looking good. Few dust spots, but overall looking really good. That's part one done with. We'll be back for part 2 very, very soon. Thanks for watching today. And as always, don't forget there is a Patreon down below. You can get early access on all the videos and loads of other perks. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment. Love reading all your comments. And click that bell notification. And I'll catch you all next time. And a huge thanks to all my patrons whose names are about to pop up on screen. Take care. Bye-bye.